All right, for homework, you guys had to do questions in 2-1, number 2, and 2-3, numbers 2 and 8. So on 2-1, here is number 2. It's one of the fraction ones we worked on today. I'm going to put a 1 underneath the 4 so that all of them are fractions. So our first step is we want to get rid of these fractions. So I'm going to list the two denominators, which are 8 and 16. And remember, we're going to skip count by those to find the least common multiple. So if I skip count by 8, I would go 8, 16, 24, but I can already tell that 16 is going to be what I want to multiply through by. So we're going to show that by putting parentheses around the equation and multiply by 16 over 1. So we're going to multiply all the numerators by 16. So I would have 16x minus, on your calculator, you can type in 16 times 4. Put that over here, 16 times 4 would be 64 equals, now we're going to do 16 times 15 and we get 240. Now I'm going to go through and multiply 1 by all the denominators. So 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 1 stays 1, 1 times 16 is 16. Now comes time to reduce these fractions. So 16 divided by 8 is 2x minus 64 equals, now I'm going to do that 240 divided by 16, and I get 15. Now it just becomes a two-step problem that we're used to. We're trying to get x by itself, so we do the opposite of minus 64, which would be adding 64 to both sides. That would leave us with 2 times x equals 79. And we need to divide by 2. I'm going to bring that over here. 2x equals 79. We're going to divide by 2. When I divide by 2, 79 divided by 2 is going to be 39.5. Okay, so now we're going to do our check. In order to do the check, we're going to use the original equation, which was, make a line here, x divided by 8 minus 4 is 15 over 16. So we're going to substitute in our 39.5 over 8 minus 4 is equal to 15/16. Okay, well, let's type that into our calculator. We've got 39.5 divided by 8 gives us that decimal, and then we're going to subtract 4. So we get this decimal of 0.9375, so that's what this side is equal to. Let's see if 15 divided by 16 is also equal to that. And it is. So our answer checks. That decimal is equal to that. Check. Okay, well, let's jump to 2-3. Now, in 2-3, we're going to do question number 2 and question number 8. All right. So, number 2, it says use the distributive property to solve the equation 3 times x minus 6 plus 6 equals 5x minus 6. So, let me make that a little bit bigger. I'm going to draw my line down. And then I see I've got a number outside parentheses, so that tells me I'm going to multiply 3 times x minus 3 times 6 plus 6 equals 5x minus 6. I've got some like terms that I can combine. 3x and then negative 18 plus 6, if you were to do that on your calculator, would give you negative 12. Now I've got a problem with variables on both sides. So I'm going to get rid of the 3x from this side by subtracting the whole term to the other side, which would leave me with negative 12 equals 2x minus 6. All right, now I need to get rid of the constant by adding 6 to both sides. And I get negative 6 equals 2x. My last step would be to divide by 2. Negative 3 equals x. All right, let's check if we're right. So in order to check if we're right, we're going to use the original equation, which was 3 times x minus 6 plus 6 equals 5x minus 6. We're going to substitute in our negative 3. And 5 times negative 3 minus 6. Okay, so we would have 3 times negative 9 plus 6. So if I simplify that, it's negative 27 plus 6, which is negative 21. On this side, if I simplify, I get negative 15 minus 6, which if I simplify is also negative 21, so they check. All right, let's jump to number 8. Number 8 has two parts. There's an A and a B. The first part is using the distributive property to solve, and the second part is explaining why the distributive property makes it possible to solve that equation. So I'm going to rewrite the equation so they're side by side. So what I mean is I'm going to rewrite, let me see if I can get this in view for you. 28 minus 3c plus 4 equals 2 times c plus 6 plus c. All right, I'm going to help you with the distributing and then I'll let you guys solve. So the 28 is going to come down. There's nothing to do there. But when you see a negative outside parentheses, I want you to think that that's like a negative 1 that you're going to distribute. Negative 1 times 3c is negative 3c. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. Now I'm going to distribute on this side. 2 times c, 2 times 6 is 12 plus c. All right, so now on both sides there's some like terms. On this side we've got 28 minus 4. So I could combine, I keep my negative 3c, but 28 minus 4 would be a positive 24. On this side, I can combine 2c and 1c to be 3c plus 12, okay? So then I'll let you guys finish that up and explain how the distributive property makes it possible to solve.